Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChiara, CPA/entrepreneur, coming to you with episode number 4 of How to Win Big at Business. And if you didn't know this, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Creating courses is the quickest, most efficient way to grow your business. And even if you don't have a business, it's the quickest way to start one. Let me give you a couple of examples. Let's say you're an expert at gardening. Did you know that you could possibly make millions of dollars teaching people how to grow tomatoes? And that's the truth. There are hundreds of thousands of examples. Now, you might say, but Joe, I don't really know anything. What can I teach? Like I said, if you know how to plant tomatoes successfully, you could turn that into a course and turn that course into a money making machine. Now, you might also say to yourself, but Joe, I'm not tech savvy. Well, here's another secret I'm going to share with you. And this might sound like an oxymoron, but the truth is that with today's technology, you don't even have to be a techie. Yeah, you might need to know how to upload stuff, how to record on your camera, but come on, how many people don't know how to record on their camera? And even if you don't, I'm sure that you know somebody that does, and they can either show you how to do it or do it for you. So the truth is that the amount of opportunities out there for business owners and non-business owners to monetize their genius, in other words, take your knowledge and experience and turn it into cold hard cash, is by creating courses. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be focusing on this phenomenon. Now, course creation has been popular since before the internet. I mean, there's been schools forever. People have been teaching each other forever. But when the internet started, you could start teaching people online from anywhere and to anywhere. I believe, and I haven't done any research on this, but teaching people language skills has been a big course curriculum for years, for years. So if you want to, number one, if you have a business and you're looking for ways to increase your revenue, ways to be known as an expert, ways to increase your professional profile, this is the quickest, easiest way to do it, without a doubt. Now, I have been creating courses for well over 20 years. If you know my story, I started teaching my mother, who was 65 at the time. I taught her how to do bookkeeping remotely. Once I learned that I can do accounting remotely, I was all in. That was 22 years ago. The thing was, I needed to teach somebody that wasn't going to cost me a fortune, because where I live in Long Island, New York at the time, and it was just very hard to find anybody that was good to do the work. What I also learned, that hiring people with a lot of experience is expensive. If you're familiar with Michael Gerber and the E Myth, he talks about this. He says, you're better off hiring people with no or little experience and teaching them. And the truth is, when it comes to accounting, bookkeeping, probably a lot of technical professions, when you hire somebody with a lot of experience, they may or may not work out because they're going to have their own ways of doing things. If they're really good, they're going to be adamant that their way is the only way. So I chose my mother, somebody that was very little experience. I mean, she knew how to use an Excel spreadsheet, but at the time, her computer experience was basically shopping and playing games. And she still does that. And watching movies on the computer. Every time I call her, she's either watching a movie or playing a game. So she was 65 at the time. She's 85 now. So she started with no experience. And I taught her. It did a couple of things. Number one, it helped me prove that, yeah, I could teach people remotely and they can work for me. But the other benefit, which I didn't realize at the time, was it empowered her. It gave her freedom to make her own schedule, freedom to not have to leave to go to a part-time job that she was working at. And, empowering people is basically what I love to do. And, I learned this over the years. There was somebody who said, if you ever want to get rich, show enough people how to get rich, and you'll inevitably get rich. So that's not exactly why I teach. I teach because I love teaching. I love sharing my knowledge. I found out that a lot of people can benefit from what I teach, and I can also make money from it. But the truth is that it did take a lot of time and effort to produce a class. The last class, well, not the last class, but the course that got me back into teaching, because I stopped teaching online classes for a long time. And it wasn't that I didn't want to, but I'll get back into that. But I fell into an opportunity to teach foreign accountants how to get into the US accounting market. And I put together a 13-week course, and it took me about 5 months. Think about that. A 13-week course took about 5 months. It wasn't the only thing I was working on, obviously, but every week I had to put together another chapter. I had to not only write it from my thoughts, it had to be edited, it had to be formatted. Then I had to do the live classes, because at that time that's what I was doing. I was doing live classes. And then we would give quizzes, we would do open office hours. So it was a lot of work. Then, that group of people, I wound up teaching close to 1,000 foreigners how to do US accounting, and we're still teaching. So anyway, they started asking me, can you do a course on payroll? Can you do a course on sales tax? And obviously I said yes, because there was an opportunity to, number one, teach people, and number two, to make money, which, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to make money. So the thought occurred to me. I said, we have these courses. Now they're done. We had 4 or 5 courses at the time. They're complete. They've been created. We have plenty of live videos. Why can't we just make this evergreen? Why can't we, take the videos, edit them? We have the content. All we need is the platform. And that brings me back to why I stopped doing the teaching. It wasn't that I didn't want to teach. What I decided to do, what I attempted to do, was find the right platform. And what I was guilty of is one of the things that I teach people now: perfectionist. I had to find the perfect platform, and there's a lot of, especially now. So 15 years ago, when I first started experimenting with it, there weren't as many, but there were quite a few. So, finding the right platform, and then also finding the right platform wasn't enough. You had to know how to design the landing page. You had to know how to do sales funnels. So I spent years, probably close to a decade, practicing, then, getting OCD over the lighting, the what kind of video do I need? And so no courses ever actually got produced. I did teach a bunch of people while I was practicing, people in my mastermind that we would practice on each other. They would we would give each other tips, but never actually publish a course. Okay, so monetizing it, you can't monetize unless you've published a course. Now I have a team of marketing people, a web designer, graphic designer, even had a video editor. And we were on a platform. I don't want to name the platform because it wasn't good. It was expensive, and there were a lot of negative. But we tried. We did try. We created a few courses. They were up there, but then we found a much better platform. See, what we found out was that platform, the bigger the course platform got, the more videos we put up there, the more expensive it became. Also, as your email list grew, the prices grew. And as a business person, I said, I don't want to having to pay more and more. What if I decide I want to take a and I'm still paying all this money for this technology? Anyway, we found a much better platform to host the courses called Go High Level. We still use it. We're probably moving. We're going to have a combination, but that's another story. So now we have the right platform. I got a new video editor because the first one didn't really understand what I want. And but now we have the platform, we have the market, we have the marketing tools. Go High Level had the sales funnel, the email, everything. So now we could start marketing these courses. But the thing was, it still took a lot of time and effort. I still had to write the courses. I still had to edit them. We still had to do the slideshows. But then in September of 2024, something happened that was life changing. And I remember it was probably as big at the time or bigger as when I learned about the remote desktop protocol, which allowed me to do accounting remote. And September of 2024 was when my coach showed me how to do a prompt in ChatGPT. And and it took over my business. I became obsessed with it to the point where I took courses, I experimented, I used every AI that was out there. I basically immersed myself in the AI world. And it dawned on me, I said, I could easily create a program, an AI agent, if you will, in ChatGPT. They have something called projects. And I said, maybe I could create a project that'll help me create these courses. And lo and behold, I created a project, and I'm not going to get into exactly how I did that. That's for another time and place. I'm actually having a webinar January 14th. This podcast will come out probably around then. So if you're listening before January 14th, 2026, you can, just ping me on Facebook. You can go to timewithjoe.com to talk to me about it. I'm always available to talk to listeners, to students about, what we're doing. And so the course, the workshop is actually called Monetize Your Genius. And it's all about what I just said, whether you're a techie, a non-techie, whether you've never created a course, whether you have a business or not, it doesn't. And the cool thing is, and you could talk to teachers. Most people become teachers not because they want to get, because it's extremely, extremely fulfilling when you could share your knowledge with people and then you see them apply that knowledge. You can't put a dollar sign on. Imagine if I was teaching all of those accountants had to do US accounting, and none of them ever actually got a job or ever actually did account. It would have been empty. Yeah, I would have made the money. It would not have really fulfilled me. So what keeps me going are all the testimonials that we have and that we keep. I get emails and videos from students all the time thanking me. People that were what they call OFWs, people that lived in a country and had to leave to go get work. So now by working from home, by working remotely, they were able to go back. So if you're in a career that you feel is going, you can do this. Not only can you do the courses, but you can also do coaching. Okay, imagine coaching people on how to grow tomatoes. Okay, it's not out of the realm. It's not that crazy. So that's all I got for today. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Joe DiChiara, CPA, lifelong entrepreneur. I hope you follow this podcast. If you have time, give me a review. And like I always say, if you want to have a strategy call with me, if you want to talk about your career, if you want to talk, I don't know how to grow tomatoes. I've tried, I failed. Maybe you could teach me how to grow tomatoes. So again, over and out. God bless, and I'll see you in episode 5. Thank you.